and welcome to the pod. I'm your host, Grace, and with us we have Anna, who's going to teach us all about how to become a founder of a sexual wellness and erotic pleasure site. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. Well, I'm delighted to be here.
I'm so excited to chat.
Talking all things FrolicMe.
Yes, it's going to be so good because I think it's going to be such an interesting journey. But let's just start off, and you just tell me in a nutshell what that title is.
Oh my goodness. It's, well, I was always wanting to produce a site for women, and I wanted something that was in the world of erotica, and it was focused on female pleasure. So when I started back in 2015, that was my aim. I wanted to focus on healthy sexuality, female pleasure through films, stories, audio. We have the gallery magazine, and it's just grown since then.
That's amazing. So 2015, that's been going for a long time, and I can imagine the industry's changed a lot in that time. But we'll get into that. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm getting excited. So let's just go back. And is this something you always wanted to get into? What did you want to be when you were growing up?
Oh my God, no. I had no idea. It was something that came to me much more in my 40s. I was always in the world of brands.
Okay.
I was in the world of marketing predominantly as my most of my career, and I'd always run businesses. So again, I wasn't worried about having a business, but I couldn't ever understand how we keep hearing the size of the adult industry and it's billions and so on. And yet I was a woman in my 40s, married, I had children. I couldn't really name a brand. There wasn't a brand I could associate with. Think of boudoir lingerie, you'd say agent provocateur. Think of other brands, and you could come up with names. And also when I started to really explore more and more, I couldn't see what there was for women. Yeah. And that really resonated because it was like a personal journey as well as an entrepreneurial journey. So yeah, the more I investigated, the more I go, why aren't women being catered for when it came to erotica?
So when you said you had businesses before and you were in marketing, what kind of businesses were they?
Well, they were agencies. I had an advertising agency at one time. Then we had other businesses that were in different sectors, but never in sex.
Yeah, this was brand new.
This was completely new. So I was kind of comfortable going, right, I understand brand, I understand about how to market, I could understand about image and so on. But the one bit that was missing was, I mean, you could say the biggest bit, but certainly the one aspect that was missing at the time was the sex.
Yeah.
You know, could I actually go out there and produce something that would stand the test of time and would be paid for?
Yeah, because that would be, I feel like agencies and stuff, they feel they're not safe like no businesses, but everyone knows about them. So building them businesses is going to be very different to building something like this.
Yeah.
And did you find that you just were always looking to do something different? Like if you built multiple, because being an entrepreneur is quite hard, I'm assuming, to start businesses.
It is. I mean, there were certain things I loved the idea of. I loved the idea that it was digital. I loved the idea that it could be global. I loved the idea it could be sort of quite fast-paced. I wasn't relying on, I've got to take something to print, or I've got to go and produce something and then get it shipped, and then I've got to store it. All of that side of things, I thought, well, that was quite fun. You've got a very different landscape. I didn't necessarily know some of the complexities I'd get into until you get into it. You really don't. But I think there was also something about being in your 40s, and it was a bit of a kick-ass moment because I did go, if I don't do this, would I ever live to regret it? Would I get into my 50s and so on? I look back and somebody else had done something like this, and I go, I had that idea. Why didn't I do it? Yeah. So I think, yes, there was that moment where if I don't give it a go now, I could regret.
100%. You don't want to live with regrets.
No.
So you've thought of this idea, and I'm sure you thought about it for a while. What are those very first steps into this industry?
Oh, golly. I think first steps, I think I needed to understand very clearly that I had an audience. What is it I was trying to produce? What was going to be different to the plethora of what was already out there in the mainstream? And I think it's important to sort of understand when you talk about sort of mainstream porn or mainstream erotica, a lot of people are actually visualizing what you see when you Google. You've got a lot of tube sites, and the most notable being Pornhub.
Yeah.
So if anybody wonders what's a tube site, it's those sorts of big sites where users can upload content and they become huge.
Right.
So this was, I mean, primarily you can think of sort of Pornhub. But straight away, I just thought, no, that's such a turn off. That's not. Where's the female pleasure there? It's degrading. It's objectifying women. I didn't see my desires as a woman reflected, and I thought, well, if I feel like that, do lots of other women feel like that? So I did do some research, and I started talking to people. Obviously, the research of what is already out there. What do women want? Which is an interesting one because women are rarely asked when it comes to anything sexual or erotic. What do you want? What is it you look for?
Yeah.
What is it that would be of interest to you? So, yes, I had to start finding out who's out there in that space, talking to people. Yeah, flew over to meet people who were doing different things.
Wow.
And having sort of conversations with them.
How did you find them?
Well, you kind of sniff around on Google.
Yeah.
I mean, you start finding, you have to sort of dig deep to get past the big players like the Pornhubs. But I did discover people doing quite niche sites, focused on specific kinks or fetishes or just mainstream aspects, but they were predominantly small. So I did go, okay, I can have some dialogue there, start to understand, and just try and glean as much as I could, and equally start to focus on what is it I think is missing, because this is a big industry. This is by no means, you could say, God, you must have, what were you thinking when you thought you could go in and disrupt the adult industry? But there's always something, everything goes through trends. There's always room for something if you can get the combination right.
Yeah.
So for me, it was both personally, I wanted women to be seen, I wanted female pleasure to be explored, and it had to be through the eyes of a woman. So that was my step forward.
I love it because I think I would be nervous to start talking to people about it, because some people I can imagine be like, what are you doing? Like you said, or like, it feels like quite a brave thing because it's quite a taboo subject. So to even break through that, I can imagine was a bit of a barrier at the beginning, because I bet some people were like, I think this is a terrible idea, or don't break into that industry, or why venture off doing something. It can be quite a hard conversation with some people.
Yeah, I mean, not when you're talking to people in the industry.
Yeah.
That's fine. Outside of the industry, I actually had to self-finance it to start with.
Really?
Yeah. I had to produce, I started with 20 films. And I remember speaking to this big site owner over in LA, who was actually very sweet and gave me some sort of airtime and to talk to. And I said, look, I've really decided I'm going for this. I'm going to launch this site, and I've got 20 films. And these were films that I produced, I'd funded, and so on, financed. And I remember sort of saying, he goes, geez, no, you've got to have at least 100.
Oh my God.
And I go, well, I don't have 100, I've got 20.
Yeah.
And I thought that was pretty major. But I realized that in the world of adult was just a dip in the ocean. It was just something of nothing. But I sort of had belief that if I could focus and market and, could I get some traction? And then, because we actually publish a film every week. I mean, it's nearly 600 on the site now. We do a film a week, audio, story, and so on. But yeah, back then it was hard because I had a small following, and obviously you need that to grow, but I was still wanting to produce and to create the content.
So really, because it was your idea, you've always been completely hands-on with all of it. Like, it's not like you've like, I've had this idea, then I'm going to pass over to a production company that specialize in this. You always wanted to be involved because you knew what you wanted it to look like.
I mean, I knew completely what I wanted it to be, and I had that strong sense of conviction. Yes, I listened to people, but I also felt, I think I've got something here, but it needs to be done where we're focusing on that desire, the fantasies. As I said, focus on the female pleasure, which is so much sexier than the other way, where we're just seeing the man and basically, you know, some female bodies, really.
Yeah.
Where is the sexiness? Where is the eroticness? And I also wanted the importance of the stories to kind of bring that extra erotic coating. So I always knew there was a strength of demand for women engaging in erotic stories, but could I actually disrupt that notion of what, you know, if you like, of what good porn can actually offer? And I had to give it a go because there was no blueprint, really.
Yeah.
So it was like, I try. If I fail, I fail. But if I try and I can make it happen, I've actually got a real purpose here. Could I change the landscape, the way we talk about things? Can I change people's views? Can I change the fact that they focus so much in the wrong way? And can I really start having those conversations about sort of healthy sex?
Which is a huge impact, because that is a lot of the way people learn is through like the porn sites, and they think that's the right way to do it without even questioning it. So you showing something else is such an educational thing as well.
Yeah.
When you come to make these films, that is probably something that no one's done before. Like when you first step into it, was that really overwhelming, or were you knew as soon as you had started it?
Oh no, I remember turning up thinking, I'm going to meet some models here in the sex industry, and am I going to get the language right? Like, am I going to be really be terrible and sort of say one term when everybody will look at you and just go, God, we don't say that. I mean, talking sex positions, or am I going to come across like the right nerdy,
new person here?
Yeah, exactly. And then literally I realized, oh my goodness, no, this is, I've got this sooner than maybe I thought. I think you do create these thoughts in your head. But actually, I knew I think because I knew what I wanted clearly through that lens. The rest, I think, I quickly sort of gained the support from the models and other people in that world.
I think it's such an important message that you had such a vision. Like, you'd really researched this properly. You really knew what you were going to do. You didn't go in this half-hearted at all.
No.
This was like full in, which I think is going to show in the success of your business. So how did you start the marketing of it? Because that, I can imagine, is tricky as well. You can't just do the mainstream.
No, I can't advertise. I realized that so much back then was done on search. It was search in the Google, and so I realized, okay, how are they doing it? And so I kind of learned, and I realized if I structure my site in such a way and then work on trying to get that traffic because of the search, then could I start to literally get in on those sort of first pages? Can I really work that SEO? Really, which is what I did to start with,
right?
Because I needed to compete.
Yes,
I had to be up there. So people, if they sort of Googled, erotic films or erotic movies, I had to be in there competitively. With an offering, but one that I then needed to stand out because it was so different.
You wanted to show that you were different from the offset. So that's really, you're building an audience, that's building a following, I guess.
And then also very quickly, I was really surprised that I hadn't really got to know the industry per se. I was not doing it to be in the industry. I wanted to create my own genre. But very, very quickly, I remember it was 2016, and all of a sudden I realized I was getting nominated for Erotic Site of the Year in LA
Wow.
at the big XBiz event. And I remember thinking, how do they know about me?
Yeah.
And literally year in, year out, I was on that sort of nomination
Wow.
for Erotic Site of the Year. And then they once did a category of female founder. And I was up for that as well, which really kind of surprised me, because I then thought, okay, I've been noted.
Yeah.
Someone has sort of seen me out there doing what I'm doing. And then even just as time ticked on, all of a sudden you were sort of hearing that there were terms like sexual wellness sort of came along, and that was COVID times. And then also terms where there was high demand for porn for women. Where did that term suddenly come from? And I think, again, it was that understanding that women were becoming interested in erotic sex. They were actually looking and exploring for themselves. They wanted to explore their sexuality, find out what's there. And so again, I was almost ahead of the curve when I first started. And then as I've sort of gone on this journey, I've started to realize, actually, I'm almost now in my sort of real moment, because we talk about all this wonderful, we talk about female pleasure. There's so much more of the language where women are becoming much more empowered to really take charge of their own agency and actually say, no, it's perfectly fine. I can have sex for myself. And so it's wonderful. So on this journey, I've sort of come into this moment where, yeah, I'm here now and I'm doing it, and I'm completely independent, and I'm still out there as one of the only sites.
Yeah.
Unrivaled, really, offering this very female-focused erotica.
Which is wild, really, when you think about it, because I agree. Like, I think it has become more comfortable to talk about it, and there's a lot more on the wellness and stuff. But because you were already kind of there, I am surprised not more people have jumped on it. Why do you think that is?
I mean, I've had to get through stigma of censorship. There is limitations. Even now, there's talk. I notice MP Samantha Niblett is out there talking about censorship in Parliament, and the issues that if you're remotely involved in sex of any sort, so selling sex toys, products, you will come across a barrier. So either an advertising barrier where you can't advertise on that platform, or it might be that, straight away, social media. I've lost social media account sort of 4 times, and for no real reason. Other than, was it a hashtag? It wasn't the imagery, because we were always so super careful. There is just that stigma where it's, if you're in that, we just shut you down. We can't have that.
Such a pain.
It is. So censorship is, I think people are becoming more and more aware of censorship, even down to payments. People might not realize, but when you go and buy something with your credit card and everything's fine with your card, you've got money on your card, and you go to buy and you pay for something, you just therefore assume you will be able to get those goods. But there is censorship where you can go and your card's perfectly fine, and you've been at M&S and you bought sandwiches and everything else, and now you go to an adult site and you go to buy a membership that's your choice, and you suddenly get declined. And you go, why am I getting declined? There's money there, it's absolutely fine. This card is perfectly fine. Why am I getting declined? And there is going to be a censorship where the card company might go, oh, this is a bit outside the normal. It's an online site, adult site. I think we're just going to decline it because we're a bit oversensitive. And so it will be declined. And so that is still a form of censorship, because you want it. It's your money. You want to come and purchase.
100%.
So censorship can be there. It's not, I'm not saying it's all the time, and thank God many people get to purchase. but it can sometimes be something where there is that you're in that world of sex.
Yeah, it's an
And
extra
there's-
barrier.
It's a barrier.
Yeah.
And for anybody that's wanting to build a very legitimate, very transparent site, it can be hard because, well, why am I getting penalized? Or why have I got higher rates with a credit card company just because it's the world that I'm in? I'm selling erotica.
Yeah.
I'm selling audio. I'm selling erotic stories.
Yeah.
But actually, if I was selling sandwiches,
It is
I wouldn't have the
wild.
same charges.
And it's their choice to be purchasing this. So
Yes.
that was going to be one of my questions. So with you growing, because how many visits do you get to the site? Like how many people do you get to come?
1.6 million a month.
Wow, that's huge. So with that, it is memberships for people to access?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I mean, we do offer. I try and keep it as low cost as possible, but we don't sell advertising. We don't sell data. So the only way for us to generate revenue is through our subscriptions. So, but we do offer a free story membership. So if anybody's interested to just come along and read our stories, and we've got fantastic short stories by a growing body of erotic authors, you can sign up to a free story membership.
Right.
And then if you want to, you can just pay for a single film. So if you're enjoying reading a story, the story is associated with a film. So if you want to then see just that film, you can just rent the film a bit, like a video on demand. Otherwise, you pay for a subscription, and the most popular is the annual subscriptions.
Really?
So people will come. It's the best value. You can then come and enjoy coming to the site anytime through the year and enjoy all of the films we already have, as well as the fact that we have film a week, as well as audios and stories.
I mean, amazing. And obviously doing the maths there, that is a lot. And that, I know you've spent a long time growing that, so it's completely deserved. And obviously not like asking exact figures, but that is big money. And was that ever a motivator for you?
I needed it to make money.
Yeah.
I think it's naive to think we all go into a business and we're not worried about the money, because for me, the money was independence.
Yeah.
And the one thing I really, really didn't want was to have somebody else calling the shots.
Yeah.
Because then would it start going down a different route? Would they start saying, oh, we've got to start doing it this way and it can't be like that? And so I always wanted to have that independence. So I didn't want the investors. I wanted to do it the hard way. And it was hard in those early years, building the traction, reinvesting the small income that we had coming in, and you keep reinvesting, building it up until all of a sudden I go, oh my God, I am financially independent and nobody calls the shots. But I did do a big licensing deal. Playboy got in touch about it was pre-COVID, and they got in touch and loved what I was doing and said, look, can we license some films? And I hadn't licensed films at that point. And I said, well, I don't know. And then, anyway, they sort of battered me down and sort of said, no, seriously, we'd like to. And it was a significant number of films that they wanted on their TV channels and so on. So I did do that. And it was also at a point, so I had a big chunk all of a sudden of money coming there.
Yeah.
And it was also at a time, it was a bit of a turning point of just somehow the memberships were growing to that level where I was starting to realize, actually, there's more coming in and sticking, and I'm not quite having to feed it around in quite the same way I was.
Not quite worry about the financing.
It was wonderful because it was maintaining that independence.
100%. Because did licensing to Playboy, did you see that increase the number of people that came to you? Was it like a two-way thing?
I always thought probably would help.
Yeah.
But it was difficult to necessarily track because we are global. We do, literally, we're in 80 plus countries worldwide.
Wow.
I say we're accessed from.
Yeah.
Large audience in America, as you probably would expect, huge country, but also across Canada, Australia, all across Europe, obviously the UK, even members in Japan, or so it's really quite far-reaching because it's digital.
Yeah, that's it. There's no end to it, which is the great thing. And also, obviously, with you being in the millions and millions now, which is amazing, you are branching out to the things like the erotic novels, like the erotic audio that you do.
Yes.
And I know you do them as well, right?
Well, I think, are you touching on Olivia?
Yes.
She came. I don't really narrate. They just asked me, I think, for that particular program. It was easier.
Fine.
What we were trying to do is also see how she felt narrating an audio. We do have voice artists, so we get different. We'd have different genres, genders. So we can have that male voice and that female voice, because a lot of women would go, I want to listen to a sexy male voice.
Yeah.
And you might find a lot of men going, I actually want to hear a particular voice that I like to listen to, maybe a female voice. And then also we have all the different styles, dialects, and so on. So it might be, we've got some American, some European voices, UK voices. So it's a mixture.
Are you always looking for ways to innovate for the company?
For sure, I think there's definitely. I mean, we've got ideas afoot of where we can take FrolicMe in terms of, say, the audio, and certainly in terms of the erotic stories, which has a really strong following as well. But it's just lovely because it's such a sort of a joyful kind. I've always wanted it to be fun and not be taken too seriously. And hence really the name. Frolic. It was meant to be fun, a little bit flirty frolic, as opposed to anything too serious, and just bring a bit of that joy and fun back into sex.
With the journey you've been on with the business, is there like one point that's been like a huge success or a real like favored moment for yourself?
I think that there have been a number. I mean, it's just those increments of growth, which I think has been very important. But it's a validation, which, of course, it's you kind of are hoping. I haven't got this wrong, have I? Have I got this? Is this something people are going to really engage with? Are they going to enjoy? And then the main thing, which is something I get continually now, which really, really resonates with how I feel about the business, is the response I get from individuals.
Really?
I didn't necessarily expect quite the personal dialogue that people would want to have, in the respects that I get these emails coming in to support of couples all over, single ladies, single men, all sorts of individuals, different ages. I've had young people in their 70s, whatever, all deciding to write and actually thank me for what I'm doing, tell me what a difference it's made to their life and the fun they've had from it.
That is wonderful.
And that to me is just, it really does resonate with that. I'm creating something with a purpose. And that purpose is to re-engage and get those conversations going about sex, bring intimacy into the mainstream. Let's talk about it. But talk about it in a way where it's positive for individuals.
Are you still learning every day about like how to grow the business, the industry itself? It's like constantly changing.
No, I don't think you ever stop learning. I mean, straight away, even just understanding we've got AI. How does that impact? What are the trends? What are people wanting? Even learning about sex as well. That's always a journey, and I don't think you ever stop learning. It makes it more interesting. So I always feel that I'm always learning something from somebody. And so seeing what's going on with AI, and that's another learning curve again.
But that's something you enjoy doing, is keep learning about it.
I think so.
That's good.
I think it keeps you motivated. It keeps it real. This is something important, and you can't ever just stand back and stop. You've always got to keep sort of innovating, improving. What can we do that we haven't done? Where can we take it? What else can we do? What else can we embrace? So I think that's important for anyone.
Would you advise, or would you, if someone wanted to get into the industry, what advice would you give them?
Oh my God. Do you know what I would love, particularly women?
Yeah.
I would love more women to be involved in this way. Realistically, it's a hard industry in some respects, because we've got to break down this taboo that we still carry when it comes to women, female sexuality, sex generally. That there is some serious taboos and issues that we have got to sort of break down. But if you could have more women in this industry, what a difference it would make. More voices talking about it openly, not in a salacious way, not in a degrading way, just open and honest. What a difference it would make.
100%.
I feel.
Because I think even when you think about someone who does your job is portrayed in TV and films, it's always like an old scary man, and it always feels a bit seedy, and it's never like, it's not something that they try and portray in, not always, but mostly in a positive light. So I think normalizing like someone like yourself as the founder and what you're trying to do with porn is completely different. And I think that would be even something that more people should know about. Like, it's not necessarily you even have to use the site, but just what you're trying to do with it and the community and the wellness is completely different.
You know, I don't run around sort of like, you know, it's amazing. It's like anything. It's a business. Yes, it's a business with purpose, but it's still a business. So most of the time you're talking about really boring, mundane, other stuff. The creating the films is just one aspect. I've always played the keep the dialogue out there, you know, don't go out there with my tits on show, running around in the playground. You know what I mean? To be the one that's slightly more demure about it. Oh God, if you're in sex, you must be this, and this. And I find that quite interesting as well when I'm, I had a big meeting and we were chatting away, and we're doing collaborations of all sorts. And I said, the thing is, I can help normalize it because I'm not walking into a room with half head shaved, almost wearing sex on my face kind of thing, where people don't know how to approach you because they just go, oh, she's way out there. And I think that's historically what has happened a little bit. And I don't think people realize that sometimes that persona is almost causing a barrier, as opposed to, you know, anybody being able to think, oh, well, I can talk to Anna because, I mean, well, it's just Anna. As opposed to, oh my God, I wouldn't know what to say to her. And that's not what I wanted to do. So I've actually found I've opened doors, I think, and taken it to a different level because I've just normalized it and saying, look, okay, this is what I do. I think I'm good at doing this, but that's it. It's just, it doesn't have to be scary and it doesn't have to be provocative. I think that's the other thing. I don't want to be provocative and political about it.
We can, I do say there's nothing wrong with porn. It's how it's portrayed and made. That's where we've got the issues. But just seeing something that is arousing, I often say to people, what I do, I'm offering a sort of chemical-free libido booster. You know, it's there because our brains are our biggest sexual organs. So if we can't arouse our minds, we're not going to follow through with the desire to actually have that intimacy. And that's whether with yourself or with a partner. So if you can't engage your brain, because that's where it all starts. And that's why listening to something, reading something, watching something, it fuels your mind. And that's the starting point. And that's that's why I wanted to have the audio and I wanted to have the stories and so on, because I wanted to take women on this sort of journey, this erotic journey of learning how they can switch off from that day to day and actually engage in something erotic to help get the mindset to then want to give themselves some own time.
Definitely. I think, like you say, the branching out and stuff is really nice as well. It's not just like sticking to what you think you should be doing. There's different ways to find what you want, which is great about your company. Do you have goals for yourself and for the company for the future? Do you see?
Oh,
What do you see?
I mean, certainly, I just I really want to take this into something where could I really change the narrative of and make that, I know it sounded such a bold statement, but you kind of, unless you have something up there, what have you got to aim towards? So if nothing else, if I could really help people understand more about sex, and sex is about pleasure, and it can be whatever level of pleasure that you want. So if nothing else, if I could give that as a rule for people when they're engaging in that intimacy with someone, is one, you have pleasure for yourself, you have sex for yourself. Yes, you could be with a partners, just yourself, but first off, you have pleasure, the sex for yourself. And secondly, what brings you pleasure? What do you like? Where do you like to be touched? What do you like? And the more you can understand that, the more you can communicate that to somebody else to then have the sort of sex that you want to make you feel good and feel good about yourself. So you leave that moment that you've had feeling good about yourself and the other person.
I think it's almost exciting to see where it can go. With you being obviously a businesswoman, a founder, and more successful than so many other people, in the business world, do you still find it hard to be taken seriously yourself? Do you get a lot of like pushback from other business people?
Ooh,
Or is that not something that bothers you?
I think it depends. I mean, interestingly, I do meet an incredible number of successful women. I'm part of a number of female founder groups.
Nice.
And what I do find fabulous is to hear their stories, hear their journeys, what is it they've been on and what industry are they on, involved in. And then it's always interesting when they then turn to me and say, so Anna, what do you do? And I go, well, and then I tell them, and then they look at me and just go, that is bloody amazing. I've got to know about it. I've got to find out about it. And so amid women, when they hear what it is, that it is for them. It's not there to shock them, shame them, or anything else. This is for women. The response is incredible. And then it's even better when I go somewhere and somebody goes, oh my God, we actually were members.
Wow.
And I went, oh heavens. And that happened to me actually recently at a big business event. I was doing a big corporate event actually at London Stock Exchange, and a couple of people, when I then mentioned the brand name, they went, oh my God, we signed up. So, I mean, I love that. I love that.
Absolutely.
That is great.
And that's what you've built, that they're not ashamed to say it, that they've been a part of it.
I think, though, men sometimes they have a slightly different approach. But within the female world, it's incredibly strong and solid. The men sometimes, it could be either way, really.
You never really know, but you've done it. You've spoken about it for so long now. You must be so equipped to be like, whatever comes back at me.
I'm fine.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's such an amazing explanation of how to get into a niche industry, because this is obviously transferable to other things. So I really, really appreciate you telling us all about it.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
It's been lovely and always fun to talk about FrolicMe.
I'm so appreciative.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching How to Become A. Please like and subscribe and share with everybody you know, so we can continue to interview many different industries and share their stories with you. Thank you so much for the support.